It's Karen Art with 360 Alberta, and today I'm at Pebblestone Farms, which is just northwest of Manville, Alberta, and I am here today to help celebrate not only the completion of harvest for a lot of farmers in the area, but also the 100th celebration of the Beelish family being on their home property for the last century. So welcome to our show.
Thank you.
So I have Conrad and Melissa Beelish, who actually live on the farm now. So thank you for joining us today. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Pebblestone Farm?
It's a mixed grain and cattle farm I've been a part of since I was a child. Recently we moved on here 5 years ago, I believe we moved on to the homestead, took it over from mom and dad. They've moved to an acreage outside of town. I don't know.
It's been a great 5 years. It's been a tough 5 years.
It's been a lot of drying grain, a lot the past 5 years. It's been a lot of cold winters. This year in particular was not very fun. Right from calving at minus 40 all through the winter to drying every bushel of grain that I harvested.
Yes. So, and that being said, there have been challenges this year. But there's also been some celebrations, and today we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of the family being on the farm. So what's that like for you?
Exciting to be able to say that to be known as someone who's been on the home quarter for 100 years. The family's been here. I don't know, gives a guy goosebumps just to truly know that you've been a part of something like that that's been around for 100 years.
Absolutely.
And just, like I said, hopefully it carries on.
Yes. Well, we've got 4 generations here today. Grandma is here. We're going to visit with her. And we've got an amazing supper coming up. And we're going to visit and enjoy tonight's celebration. So thank you for having us.
Well, thanks for coming out. I hope everybody else, I hope there's lots of other farms out there that get to celebrate something like this.
Absolutely. It's very uncommon nowadays because farming is, I believe, a dying art. And we need farmers to feed us. So thank you for being those that help feed our communities. So I'm now joined by Tina and John Beelish. And so I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what it's like to take over the family farm from your folks. And your mother is here today, but what it's like to also hand it over to your children.
Well, I guess it was just never thought of it back then, but when you look at it now, it was quite a thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
Turn it over to your children, it was tough to leave.
Absolutely. So, and Tina, what's it like for you to walk away from it and move into town?
It was a huge change for me to leave here as well. I said when I first came to the farm, it was very overwhelming, not what I was used to at all. I had no idea how much family it carried with it and how important that aspect was. And for me to leave here, it was the longest home I'd ever had, and it did mean an awful lot to be here.
So that being said, where do you see Pebblestone Farms going from here now with would be the 4th or 5th generation? What are we at?
That's the 4th generation, little guy running around. Hopefully he's the 5th generation.
What's it going to be like for your son going forward?
Who knows? Things change so much in this business that I would venture guess 30 years from now, 25 years, what it'll be like, I can't tell you. It was a big change from the time we started to the time we got out. It went from a 1,000-acre farm to a 5,000-acre farm for survival for 2 families. Where it'll have to be for them in the future, who knows?
Yeah. And it's been a trying year this year so far. We experienced some drought,
right,
and then we experienced some wet. And what's life been like on the farm for this year, for the fall, for the harvest?
It was probably the most challenging harvest the farm has probably ever seen. You didn't know what you were going to be doing the next day because you didn't know what it would be like to try to get that harvest done. And in the end, I guess it got done, but there's a lot of work ahead with it too.
Yes, there's a lot of work involved now with storing that wet grain, and I know you folks have been drying everything. You were lucky enough to get everything off this year, but everything is going through the dryer, I understand.
Everything is, yes.
Yeah.
Unless we can be fortunate enough maybe to move some of it as tough grain, but otherwise, yeah, it's got to go through the dryer.
So this is an amazing plaque issued by the Alberta government, Jason Kenney, and recognizing the Alberta Century Farm and Ranch Award. Recognizes the Beelish family for all they've done. So thank you so much. It is an emotional day here, just northwest of Manville, and thank you again for having us here with 360 Alberta.
Thank you. One thing about this, Karen, that we didn't realize, we thought it was actually 1918 that Grandpa bought the farm. But when Melissa started to get this plaque, they found out that he actually didn't buy it until 1919. Then we find the understanding that the person he bought it from, he had a year of grace before he actually had to buy it. So he had it for a year, then bought it the second year. So he actually did start living here in 1918, but didn't purchase it until 1919.
Interesting. It just goes to show some of the record keeping that how we've come so far from back then to now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's been a great day today at the Beelish Family Farm, northwest of Manville, to celebrate the Century Farm Award that they received through the Alberta government. So thank you so much for staying tuned. And I'm Karen Arndt for 360 Alberta.